This video will summarize basic essay structure, and I said in my description that the students at the college learn how to do this in EN 031. But some of you didn't take that, so I need to quickly review it because here in America we have a certain style, a pattern, or format that we really like to follow in academic circles. So I'm going to go through some of this basic chapter and explain it to you. The essay usually has 5, maybe 6 parts, but it has to start with an introduction. It has to end with a conclusion that is sometimes kind of small because it doesn't really add any new important ideas. And then often we have 2, 3, 4 body paragraphs in the middle. Introduction is very important. It has to start with a hook. And what makes a hook interesting, the function of the hook is to make the reader want to read the essay. And usually the way to do that is to say something kind of interesting and kind of strong. So in this sentence here, the strong word that really gets my attention is the word essential. In English, essential is extremely important. You can't live without it. Now this topic sentence really hits right on, this hook sentence or grabber hits right on the main idea, how to write an academic essay. That is not necessary. It is also possible to start with a sentence that is interesting and not really connected directly to the main ideas. So for example, an interesting way to start this kind of an essay would say that there's many companies that make a lot of money by helping students write their essays. So that gets people's attention. We're not going to explain about those companies, but we're going to get into that topic of writing our essays. The point is to think about your audience who's going to read. It's going to be me and maybe some other students or other professors are going to read your essay. What will attract them to read your essay, to make them interested in continuing to read your essay? And by the way, this is a very good example of how magazines are successful. Magazines have to use a lot of hooks. Many magazines have a hook at the beginning of every paragraph practically because they're trying to constantly invite you and attract you and interest you. But in an academic essay, we just need it once at the beginning. We're looking for that. We're not looking directly to go into the main topic right away usually. Background information comes next, and background information is relatively boring. It's basically stuff that people already know. It's nothing new or challenging or complicated. It's reminding the reader of what he probably already knows about this topic. And that prepares the reader mentally to get to the thesis. And the thesis has to be at the end, because the thesis, to achieve this goal, etc., following 3 points, the thesis is really the true start of the essay when we get directly into the main ideas that are coming up. Now, this thesis is breaking down the 3 points and trying to give each of them a little name: content, correct grammar, advanced level vocabulary. Some theses don't do that. Some theses will just say 3 advantages or 3 problems or 3 issues. So it's not necessary to name each of them. But it's good practice to try if you can. So the thesis is just a very short title in this case, 3 short titles: the content, the grammar, and I'm going to take this one, the grammar, and show you how it connects to the actual essay and the topic sentences. So correct grammar, and I go down here, 3rd paragraph. Academic writing requires critical thinking skills and understanding of the topic, high-level vocabulary, and correct grammar. So they are going to focus here on the grammar and some other things, but it all is describing what's coming in this paragraph now, these main ideas. And by the way, this topic sentence here in number 3 is actually very kind of detailed. I really doubt that the writers can explain all of this well in one paragraph, so that bothers me that this topic sentence is so long and detailed. I would prefer that the writer just focus on 1 or 2 things, and in his thesis he just said correct grammar. So why doesn't he just stick with that in this topic sentence? The rest of the paragraph should be about that. Now, I eliminated the rest of the paragraph, so you can't see page 4, unfortunately. No, here's page 4. Well, I'm afraid something happened on this copy because it doesn't have the rest of the essay, but that's okay. Down on page 5, we can see another example of body, paragraph 2, and here he says, I realized that I had to improve my understanding of grammar in order to write for college. So now he's focusing just on that topic, and he's going to talk all about that, why it's so important for college, correct grammar in his writing. He's going to give a lot of details about different kinds of sentences. So in academic writing, here's body paragraph 3. We're not looking for a hook at the beginning of every paragraph. You don't need to try to keep us, making us interested. In a magazine, they would have a lot of pictures that would attract your attention, but in academic writing, we don't do that. So we're just looking what is the basic general topic here. And here the topic, this is the 3rd body paragraph, is about the way I spoke with my family and friends, and that informal style. And it was not very useful in academic writing. Academic writing is more formal and official, and uses proper forms and more standard traditional vocabulary and grammar. So he doesn't, this paragraph here, it kind of bothers me a little bit that this topic sentence doesn't directly give me the topic. It's like he wants to tell a little story. So I would prefer it actually here if right up in the topic sentence he mentioned that he needs more sophisticated, complex, advanced vocabulary. That would be a stronger topic sentence. You see, in academic writing, we want to be able to easily guess exactly what you're going to say. We don't want to listen to you start with a story. First this happened, then that happened, then that happened, and then I finally realized at the end of the paragraph. That's beautiful for fiction and novels to write that way, but in academic writing it should be more straightforward, where we can read faster if we want to. Sometimes when I read academic writing, I focus a lot on the first and second sentence, and then I decide, well, if I think I know what this is about, then I'm just going to skip the whole paragraph. Sometimes, not always. But if I want this explained, first sentence, then I'm going to read the whole paragraph. That's the way academic researchers like to write. The conclusion can have different purposes and function. First of all, it can be a quick reminder about the main points. And that's what we have here. Also, it can have a final comment. And I think the last sentence is a comment. I'm proud of the writing that I produced. Also, it can be a prediction, what will come in the future. So I believe I will succeed in college because I acquired these skills. That's so a quick summary, a comment, a prediction. And the other thing we're also looking for is kind of connecting to the big context again. So when I say context, I'm talking about the bigger situation. And in this case, with academic writing, we could talk here about, you could make a sentence about how maybe high schools will have to teach this more and more because students need to be prepared when they enter college. So you could, well, that's kind of a prediction, but at the same time it's connecting it to the big context of learning in a more general way. It's not just about college, it's probably going to be important in high school as well. This is probably the most important page on the essay. It's page 8. It really gives all the main ideas that I've just mentioned here so far, especially for the introduction with the hook. This hook is, I would say, kind of surprising. We all dream about our wedding celebration, but when it happens, we do not know what to expect. So there's something a little bit surprising there. If we dream about it and we plan it, then we should know what to expect, but things always happen in weddings and we always are surprised in some way. Background information is really just, it's not main ideas. Please do not summarize in your introductions. That's the big number one mistake of students. They hit the they try to get the main idea into the hook, then they start summarizing in their background information, and then their thesis statement is sort of like just a general statement about the whole essay. That is a big mistake. A good reader, by the way, if the reader is very interested in your title, he might skip the hook and the background information because all he needed to see was your title, and he'll go right to the thesis statement. So academic writing is giving the reader a lot of freedom to jump around and just take out the most important parts. A good thesis statement does not have to be a list. It often is a very simple statement that has a topic and a controlling idea. And what will this essay be about? Well, of course it's going to be about my wedding day, but I think the word thrilling, exciting is very important here. All the exciting parts of the wedding day need to be explained now. Another example, in this hook here, because the essay is kind of a narrative essay, it's telling a story, it's okay to sort of tell a little story even in the introduction. But this is not a very good example of academic writing because it's not hitting the main idea directly and right away. Best moments of my life, that's pretty strong language. But then this hook here is nothing special about this hook. It was sunny when my family moved out. Big deal. Or it was cloudy. Who cares? It's not important, really. Now, in fiction, this is important to describe the situation, the context, but for academic purposes, this is not a great example. What is a little bit better here, the thesis is also kind of weak in some ways. Little did I know, I didn't realize or understand that this move out of the city and into the suburbs would turn out to be one of the best moments of my life. So I can't tell exactly what this essay is going to be about, but this statement, best moments, is very strong, and he's going to emphasize the move, why going to the suburbs was so good and important for him. And how will it be organized? I'm not really sure. Maybe he'll start talking about the first week in the suburbs, then the first month, then the first year. I don't really know how it will be organized. And most good academic thesis statements give me more information about what will be coming here. Every body paragraph has a very clear topic sentence right at the beginning. Very important here. It must develop the point in the topic sentence through explaining, describing, explanations, support. Everything is about proving the topic sentence is true. The end of the body paragraph is called a concluding sentence. It might be a small reminder about the main idea. It should not, somehow it has to bring attention back to the big main idea, not the little small details that were supporting the main idea. In this exercise, they're emphasizing unity. Unity means that it's all directed at one big main idea, one topic and controlling idea. So in this example, Jay Gatsby was my favorite character in the novel. Favorite is an important word. It means here the one I liked the most. So they're crossing out sentences that are not about favorite character. They don't really fit or belong here. Everything is connected to favorite character. And that's explained also here, where every topic sentence connects to the thesis. In other words, it's all about thrilling, exciting, wonderful, fantastic. Topic sentence number 1, amazing. Number 2, played music we loved. Number 3, exhausting. Now, exhausting is kind of a bad word in English, and it doesn't directly connect to thrilling, but if you're so excited and thrilled, then at the end you probably will be exhausted. So here's the essay for this week. It's going to be descriptive, and I said description is what people see. It's not really about how things work, exactly the process, or what causes something else. It's more emphasizing the basic things that you see on the outside, the description. So try to think that a foreigner is visiting your hometown. What will he see? Of course, first he'll see people, he'll see land, he'll see buildings, and he'll see work being done that might interest him. Now, these are all possible topics, and you have to pick 3 of these or think of another 3, and you have to make 3 topic sentences. And I want you to send them to me by Friday morning, because I want to check them on Friday so that you have 3 or 4 days after that. You have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and on Tuesday I want you to send me the final essay. The final essay needs to have a good introduction. It needs to have paragraphs, 3 body paragraphs on these topics or any other topic you want to explain. But remember, it is pretend that I'm a tourist. So when I go to your hometown, it might be a big city, might be right around where you live. What will I see as a tourist? And that is the descriptive part of it. So you need to try to be specific about this. It's not assuming that I'm going to visit the beautiful museums or the other tourist attractions. I'm coming right to where you live in your country, your city, your town, and what do I see when I get to your neighborhood? In fact, I'm going to change this to my neighborhood. That's better because that forces you to be very specific about a smaller place. In American English, neighborhood in the city is usually only about 2, 3, 4 blocks away from your house is your neighborhood. If you live in the countryside, then we usually don't use the word neighborhood, but I'm talking about the area right around your house. What will I see when I get there, close to your house? You don't have to talk about all of these topics. Maybe you can think of another topic. So for example, if you live in a rural area, rural means from the countryside, then you could have a whole paragraph about the farms. And tell me all about those farms if you want to. So I'm looking for really good descriptive details, a lot of good adjectives that explain exactly what the houses are like, what the people are like. Not too many verbs, except you can have verbs, of course, for the habits, what the people usually do. That's the habits. But I'm not really interested in like holidays, because when I come to your neighborhood, it's probably not going to be a holiday. I want to see the common, frequent activities in the area or the place where you live. I gave you a reading exercise where you have to decide between general and specific information. So when you write your 3 topic sentences, they should be quite general, not too specific, because the specific details will come later in the paragraph, in the body paragraph. So let's say, for example, the place where you live has a lot of car factories. Well, if you say that right in the topic sentence, then you might just keep repeating that in the body paragraph. So it would be better to have a topic sentence that's a little bit more general and said, there's a lot of manufacturing in the place where I live. And now you're going to explain exactly what kind of manufacturing there is for cars or for anything else in more detail. So it is important that the topic sentence be a little bit more general and the details come later in the paragraph. Let's go back and take a look at some of the important Blackboard folders. The first is the syllabus. The syllabus document is right here, and it explains what the course is about, how I give the grade, why attendance is important, and things like that. I can get messages at my office at this phone number. I also have a ability to interact through WebEx. So we can make an appointment on WebEx where I can show you exactly what's on my computer screen, and you can even show me what's on your computer screen. So it's like you're sitting in my office and I'm looking at your work. It's a wonderful service that can really help us be connected. This little address goes to my YouTube playlist, and I'm developing it more right now. I'm using different websites, and I'm trying to use now MeWe. So let's take a quick look at MeWe. I sent you all an invitation. You don't have to use MeWe, but it does help for quick questions and explanations. And I can leave an audio message here. If you're part of the MeWe group, I can leave a video message here that other people can watch. This is a lot like Facebook Messenger. Somebody asked a question, and by the way, very important, when Nee said this on the class, she was sharing with the whole group. Now, when I reply to her, I don't have to talk to the whole group. I could just hit reply and respond directly to her, but not to the whole class. So if you want to communicate on MeWe, you can communicate to the whole group, the whole class. Right now we have about, we have 11 students in our MeWe class, but we have about 15 or 16 students in the class. So it's up to you if you want to communicate directly to another student or communicate directly to me. So normally when you just make a comment, it will go to everyone in the group. They'll all 11 students. But if you want to reply to one student or just to me, then use the little reply button. Now, I like students to use this when they're confused to ask questions, because when I answer the question, the rest of the students will benefit from this. And if there was something that was a little bit confusing, I can explain it here, and everyone will benefit from the MeWe system. So to join MeWe, which is optional, if you want to do it, you can load the app on your phone, and then you can search for Chris SUNY Erie or just SUNY Erie. That's enough. And you'll find me, and you'll send me a friend request to be a contact with you. And the nice thing on MeWe is there's no advertising. It's just for our class. So it's a very safe, private experience, not like Facebook Messenger where they're constantly giving you advertising and other people want you to join their contact groups and things like that. This is a really good academic text which we might use in the course, we might not, I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to give you an example of all the different kinds of grammar and writing styles that we will be working on in this class. Before I go to the big lessons area that will be changing a lot, I want to look quickly at the number 5 homework area. And here I'm trying to keep a record of all of your assignments as they develop and everything that's required. So yesterday students had to write the introduction for the first one. I think that was the one about exercise. And I need to check that today. Also, ReadWorks. Some students are not using ReadWorks, but it's required. How do I join ReadWorks? For reading practice, I go back to second week, number 2, second week, and here is the big explanation. You click on the link, you paste in copy and paste this class code KNP3QS. Then it will take you right to our class. You'll see your name, and you'll put in the default automatic password as 1234. As soon as you log in, you should change your password to something more meaningful. But don't make it difficult. You don't have to. You can keep it simple. I assigned 3 stories. 2 of them were combined together about the feeling good to laugh and attack of the nerves. Those were combined stories here. There are multiple choice questions, and then at the end there are questions that require some writing. Now, a lot of students will just copy and paste that answer, and usually I will accept it, but later on in the course I'm not going to accept that because I want you guys to practice explaining the answer in your own words. So please join MeWe. Please join ReadWorks. Here are the 2 texts that are combined. You read both of them. You answer one set of questions. 5 students have done it already, but it's due in 2 days. September 24th is when it's due. Today I assigned 3 more readings, and they are fairly straightforward. The first one is about staying healthy by eating apples. So apples have some good vitamins and minerals and nutrients to help you stay healthy. The next one is a little more scientific in a complex way. What is heat? Now, maybe you haven't thought about this. What is heat? But they're going to explain how heat is actually a kind of energy, and it creates radiation. So I like this story because it's actually explaining a concept which is kind of simple in one way, but kind of complicated in another way. So you read the passage, and then you answer the questions over here. And in ReadWorks, there's always, if you want to hear the reader
What is an example
talk,
of a heat source?
you click on the little speaker and you can hear everything explained. Down at the end will be 3 written questions. So that's there, and the deadline is actually 2 weeks for this one, but it's better not to wait. If you can, do it sooner. And then the final one is a little bit simpler, I would say. It's called Teaching English in Thailand. So here's a map of Thailand, and it's explaining the experience of going to Thailand and being an English teacher in Thailand. I'm sure you can relate to that. You probably had English teachers who came from other countries and taught you English. When they came there, they had to learn about the language and the culture. In my case, I spent 17 years in the Middle East, in a small country surrounded by Saudi Arabia, Iran, Oman. It's called the United Arab Emirates. And I lived near Abu Dhabi, but actually out in a smaller city called El Ain. El Ain's right over here. So it was all desert around me, beautiful orange sand, but very few forests, very hot weather. And for fun, we went out to the sand dunes. This is a website that I made, and I put a picture up here of my son, my youngest son, on the top of a beautiful sand dune out in the desert of the United Arab Emirates. So going back to Blackboard, we're in the lesson area. That's where we started last week with a big essay writing section with a lot of videos, 5 videos about essay writing, and a nice little chapter that I've just explained here. And so I have given you 2 introductions to write about. The file here is the essay without the introduction. So you have to finish it, and I hope I can check these today and tomorrow to help you to do a really good job for the one that's due on Thursday. The Thursday one is pretty easy. It's about community colleges, and I would call it a kind of a descriptive essay, but it's also explaining some of the benefits of community colleges. There's a new test here that I'm going to open up, and this test is the one I just mentioned. Look at the 2 sentences and just decide which one is more specific and more detailed. So it's not an easy test because you really have to have an idea about what these words mean. But if they use words like good or bad, those are very general words. We need very specific language. The specific words will come later in the chapter. The general sentence could be a topic sentence, and then the other one will explain it later with more detailed, specific language, and a lot of times with good adjectives to explain in detail and describe. To stay organized, I'm going to try to use due dates as much as possible. Due dates. How do you check your due dates? Well, you have to go outside of the course, and that's what these 3 lines are up here. These 3 lines at the very top left let you go outside, look for the calendar here, and next to the calendar it will say due dates. So when I click on my due dates here, I see exactly what is due and when it is due. You can see this in the schedule area here, but you have to shrink your screen, and now you can see everything that is due for the month, for the week, all of the due dates with different colors are shown here. So please check your due dates frequently so that you're not late with activities. I specifically wanted the first introduction yesterday so that I could check it before you did the one on Thursday. If you miss the due date, it's going to be hard to keep on that schedule. Again, go outside the course, look for calendar, and then you can either click on look for the month view, the day view, or just go right to due dates, and you can see everything in order here on the due dates, all organized by date. Every requirement, every test, every assignment is here. Quickly going back into Blackboard, I want to show you one more thing that a lot of students are confused about, and that is, what are these little pictures next to every title? Down here it says starting dates. Is starting dates a test? Is it an assignment? No, it's a folder because of the picture. So the pictures are very, very important. This picture or icon has just a piece of paper. It's an assignment. So it doesn't look important, but it is. It's part of your grade. And that's why I put in the word assignment here. Here I'm in the lesson area with essay writing. And this picture is a document with a little square in it. This is called an item. It's just usually where I present the lesson material, that kind of an item. Going down here, there will be a little test. I'm not using a lot of tests, but I will use some tests in this course. And the tests are very special. They have the 3 dots here in the paper, the 3 dots. That means this could affect your grade. It's required and it has a due date, very important. I always put due dates on tests and due dates on assignments. This is an assignment, write the introduction. Even though it just looks like a piece of paper, it's very, very important. So please keep track of those. You will see them directly in the due date area. Finally, I highly recommend that when you do the assignment, you can use the Word documents. Don't write in the box. They give you the option. It says write the submission directly here. The problem is you won't have much control. You won't be able to check spelling and grammar very well. So it's much better to write your homework outside and save it as a Word file. So for example, if I was opening up Microsoft Word here with something, I could save this as a Word file. I guess I'll put it onto my desktop area. You can't see what I'm doing here. Save it as a Word file. Then, when I'm done, I will go back into Blackboard and I will browse my computer and search for that Word document. So here's a lot of documents I have. I have to find that Word document that I was writing my homework on, and I have to select it, and then finally I have to click on Submit to send it in to the teacher. There is a box down here, by the way, if you want to make any extra communication with me. It's called Comments. So if you had a special problem or something, you can make a little comment here about the exercise, something you were confused about or something like that. Okay, I hope this helped you, and please keep on top of things. If you need more help, please contact me first through email or through MeWe. It doesn't matter which one. The advantage of MeWe is that you don't have to type. You can talk to me in MeWe, and I just want to emphasize how you do that. This isn't a speaking class, but for example, if I'm making a comment right here, I could start typing, or I could just hit the microphone button right there, microphone. So you can send me a quick little voice message, and voice messages, I think, are more effective and efficient. I'll probably understand you better. You'll probably understand me better through a short voice message than through a complex text message. So don't hesitate to communicate that way. And if you want it just to be to me, then you have to reply. You have to use the reply button for it to be coming straight to me, not to the whole class. It's up to you. I like communicating with the whole class at one time. You might send me a private message, but maybe when I respond, I will send it to the whole class, because I believe maybe other students are having a similar confusion or problem. So in the future, I will try to use mainly Blackboard, but I use MeWe to handle small daily confusions and clarifications and questions.